Dear ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Russian tour operator Spectrum, we are happy to welcome you. While our headquarters are located in Moscow and St. Petersburg, our filial offices can be found in cities all across Russia. As an acclaimed company, which has been on the market since 1992, we enjoy a great reputation as a reliable partner for our clients and associates. Today, we'd like to present you with a tour of Moscow's hidden gems. Even Muscovites, who've lived here their entire lives, would be amazed at how many secrets our majestic city holds. Let's skip the usual suspects. We've got stuff to see apart from the Kremlin and the Red Square. Moscow's seemingly typical boulevards and neighborhoods are rich with history. Check out some of these example excursions. Moscow's residents and tourists alike love Gastronome No. 1, also called Yelivseevsky Gastronom, on Tverskoy Street. People stop by this gourmet delicatessen for fresh produce, deli items, pastries, culinary masterpieces, or simply just a window shop, enjoy the interior, or grab some souvenirs. The estate and store themselves have over 100 years of history, filled with grandeur and intrigue. In our private tour of Gastronome No. 1, we'll discuss the founder, a merchant by the name of Yeliseev, the unprecedented splendor of culinary products presented at the time of its opening, the status of the store after the revolution, as well as the trial and execution of Gastronome's No. 1's director, Yuri Sokolov, in 1984. After the tour, you'll be offered an optional caviar tasting, accompanied by the insight into the technology of harvesting and producing Russia's other black gold. You don't have to be a fan of ballet or opera to peer behind the curtain and get a taste of the rich history of the Bolshoi Theater. It's practically impossible to see anything but the main hall of the Bolshoi. Not many people know that the massive building extends 6 floors below ground level. The 6 underground levels of the Beethoven Hall are built in such a way that they can fold into each other at the press of a button, leveling everything at the ground floor and turning the hall into a banquet area. The recital hall at the top story, near the very roof, has a stage and gorgeous dark wooden green room where the performers relax before entering the stage. We'll also look into the garment production and sewing room and stop by the costume museum. Many of us pass the big gray building across from the Kremlin, the Moscow Estrada Theater. We learn the history and purpose behind the construction of this building, the story of the 800 residents of this building's 500 apartments, why the structure is missing entrance number 11, as well as myths, legends, and names associated with the venue. Underground tunnels, fortune tellers, and more mysteries await you. We'll end with a tour of the house in the Embankment Museum. Have you ever been inside a government building? You'll have the chance to visit the Russian State Duma, learn about its history, structure, and organization. We'll take a look at the fractions represented and have the unique chance to experience a session of the house from the guest balcony. If you're looking for something a little bit more mystical, we've got just the thing. This tour is called Places of Power. Some of these places of power are in the Moscow area, like the Kolomenskaya estate and Stalin's high-rises. The so-called Seven Sisters of the 9 originally projected nearly identical buildings Stalin constructed are said to stand on fault lines. Such areas are often places of power. Stalin was into occultism and numerology. The areas where the 7 buildings were erected were confirmed by psychics. All the high-rises are built in the form of a step pyramid. It is thought that this structure gives a person divine power, authority over all the world, and would ultimately grant the individual the path to immortality. The 8 pyramids were supposed to close in on the 9th, the largest and the most central of the lot. Are you familiar with the influences Germany had on our country? In the beginning of the 18th century, Peter the Great invited many Germans to Russia, having granted them the privilege to keep their religion, language, and traditions. German émigrés were held in high regard as members of the royal court, tending to crown princes with the national German love for order, diligence, and perseverance, as well as managing universities, military academies, factories, estates, and other important aspects of Russian life. The German diaspora flourished in Moscow toward the end of the 19th century through the beginning of the 20th century. Families of famous German entrepreneurs, such as Mark, Vogel, Knopf, and Liszt, were in charge of heavy industry and set the standard for the city's business life. Karl Verein's Gürtchen pharmaceutical factory and drugstore were Moscow staples. Theodor Ferdinand von Eyman was known for his sweet chocolate and cookie masterpieces. Contemporary Moscow warmly remembers its Russian Germans. Dive into Moscow's architectural history with us to find out more. We'll show you breathtaking views from Moscow rooftops, and we'll follow professional diggers underground to explore tunnels. We'll ride tanks and APCs, shoot all sorts of artillery, fly everything you can imagine. All these and other excursions are available on our website. You can purchase any of our excursions not only for you and your family, but as a gift for your friends. Just add their email when checking out. You'll receive a confirmation and they'll get a gift certificate with the layout of the tour and the chance to book it on any day the museums are open. The gift certificate won't have any pricing information. Moscow is not just the Kremlin and the Red Square. Trust us.